Flashes of Mother's Leela or divine play of compassion. As recorded by Didi Gurupriya Devi in her diary. This is Anandamayi Ma's biological mother. 18th January, 1959. 3 days ago, Mataji went to the hospital to see Mukti Maharaj, that is Dr. Radhakrishnan, the Vice President of India, for he is at present admitted into the Presidency Hospital of Calcutta after having undergone an operation. Immediately after the operation, Mataji had the special kayal, the divine insight, to go and see him. Dr. Radhakrishnan was not then conscious. No visitors were allowed to enter the patient's room while he was in that condition. But since Mataji wanted to see him, Dr. B.C. Das Gupta took her with him to the patient's room. The two nurses in charge of Dr. Radhakrishnan were unwilling to permit her to step into the room. But since Dr. Das Gupta had brought her, they could not prevent it. So having no alternative left to them, the two nurses entered with Mataji, and then joining hands stood on both sides of the bed, as if to keep Mataji from touching the patient. But Mataji somehow put her hand below theirs, and without anyone noticing it, touched the bedsheet. When on recovering consciousness, Dr. Radhakrishnan received the news of Mataji's visit, he expressed great joy and feelingly requested a number of people to convey his gratitude to her. It is difficult for us to bestow her grace or know that her grace has been bestowed. Nobody, you see, had requested her to go and see Dr. Radhakrishnan. Nobody even mentioned to her that he was in the hospital. Yet of Ma's own accord, she came and blessed him. This is called a hetuki kripa, or unsolicited and causeless grace. Who could have foretold what was written in Dr. Radhakrishnan's fate? But he recovered and later came to see Mataji, and at his special request, Mataji once visited his residence in Delhi. In this connection, another example of Mataji's grace, without any visible cause or reason, comes to my mind. Some time ago, it was a middle-aged woman without any means of her own came to live in our Varanasi ashram. Although her name was Kamala, Mataji called her Gopal's mother, since she kept an image of the child Krishna with her, whom she worshipped. She became a regular inmate of the ashram. I was hardly acquainted with her, but I noticed that Mataji showered her grace with great lavishness on the woman. One day, Mataji said to me, "Gopal's mother is a very fine person." More amused at Mataji's praising her so highly, I replied, "Well, she is very neat and clean in her work." And Mataji said, "Maybe, but remember that she is a poor woman and has no one and nothing to call her own. She can do only as much work as she is capable of." One night, Mataji appeared to be a little unwell. At about midnight, she suddenly remembered Gopal's mother and sent for her at that very moment. As soon as she came and stood before Mataji, she gave her a broad smile and asked, "Well, how do you like staying in the ashram?" Gopal's mother did not reply at all cheerfully. Mataji listened attentively and then said, "Look, in the ashram you are living on the banks of the Ganges. Do your worship and prayers, your sadhana bhajana, and for the rest, try to give whatever service you can. You see, all the ashramites will take care of you, and you also try to look after them just a little. How does this sound to you? Mataji's loving words seemed suffused with compassion. And a few days later, when Mataji's health had improved to some extent, she went to Gopal's mother's room and arranged every detail in it, the place of her worship, the place where she slept, and all such things. Our gracious mother confers her grace without any cause or reason, unexpectedly. Who can tell by what good works in her former births Gopal's mother earned the privilege of finding refuge with Mataji and of becoming the recipient of her boundless grace? 4th February, 1959. This afternoon, after partaking of our midday meal, we started by car for Lucknow. Many devotees were waiting all along the road to have Mataji's darshan, not heeding the discomforts that this long waiting caused. After we passed Unnao district, Mataji pointed to a nearby village, exclaiming, "Look, Didi, what a lovely little village." I saw a cluster of mud houses nestling among trees, but could not discover anything extraordinary about that small village. When a little later I heard Mataji remark again, "Aren't those trees beautiful?" I said, "All right, let us go and see them from close." Mataji replied with some hesitation, "But the car has taken us quite a distance from there by now." But I put in eagerly, "What does it matter? Let us go there, please." The driver was asked to turn the car and drive back. When we had recovered a short distance, I saw that there was an opening in the middle of the fields, and the car could take us right into the village. As soon as we had reached it, Mataji got out of the car and walked with great speed straight towards one of the houses. I asked, "Ma, where are the trees of which you talked?" But instead of giving me an answer, Mataji said, "Bring all the flower garlands and the basket of fruits that are in the car." I did as I was bidden, and carrying the flowers and fruits, I started running behind Mataji. Soon I saw a pond near a house, and on the banks of the pond there were two young trees, one a banyan and the other a margosa tree, growing side by side. Mataji went close to the two trees and started fondling and caressing them with so much affection that we all stood speechless, staring in amazement at this unusual scene. Pressing the forehead of her face again and again against the two tree trunks, she said, "Well, well, so you have brought this body here to see you." As far as I could judge, the two trees that brought Mataji so dramatically to them did not seem to have anything special about them, outwardly at least. Neither were particularly strong, nor had they many leaves, nor were they well shaped. Yet invisible to us, there must surely have been something about them that made Mataji eager to come to them and bless them so abundantly. By and by, the villagers came out of their houses and crowded round us. Mataji asked them, "What is the name of your village?" "Bhawanipur," was the reply, and Mataji said, "Who had planted these two trees?" Someone said, "Dwarka." We were also told that the master of the house was not at home. Everyone pointed to his wife. Standing close to the trees, Mataji said, "Take great care of these two trees and worship them. It will be for your good." Then Mataji, with her own hands, decorated the trees with the garlands we brought and distributed among the villagers whatever fruits she had. She then asked the mistress of the house, "Have you a daughter?" The poor woman could not understand what Mataji was driving at. In the fashion of village women, she had a long veil drawn over her face. Seeing all that Mataji was doing, she stood quite perplexed. Addressing her again, Mataji said, "I have made you my mother." And pointing to herself, "This is your little daughter." While walking back to the car, Mataji uttered, "Margosa and Banyan, Hari and Hara." I asked, "Have you given the trees these names?" "Fine." When we got into the car, the crowd had followed us there as well. I enjoined them, "Plaster the space under those trees with mud." Mataji asked them, "Do you repeat God's holy name? Even though you may be able to do so daily, at any rate now and again perform puja and sing kirtan or religious songs under those trees." The car started. "How surprising," Mataji observed. "Those two trees were pulling this body towards them as human beings might. The car was carrying us away from them, but it was just as if they had caught hold of the chest and back of this body and dragged it backwards in their direction. This kind of thing has never happened before." We tried hard to find out from Mataji who or what those two trees actually were, but Mataji gave no clear reply. It is difficult to foretell whether light will ever be thrown on this mysterious incident. Behind many of Mataji's apparently trifling actions, deep mystery lies hidden. What a great number of supernatural happenings occur in connection with Mataji. How many of them are we able to understand?